Hello, everyone. Let's talk about the human circulatory system. The purpose of the circulatory system is to circulate blood around the body. In doing so, the blood can deliver nutrients, such as oxygen, and take away waste from organs, like carbon dioxide. The circulatory system is a closed loop that is made up of blood vessels that carry blood. The heart acts as the pump for this system, pushing blood away through arteries and brings blood towards it through veins. Capillaries are the smallest type of blood vessel. They exchange substances in the blood with organs. Now let's go into some detail on how the heart works. The heart is not symmetrical. The right side takes in deoxygenated blood, while the left side takes in oxygenated blood. You might notice that the right side of the heart is on the left side of this diagram, and that the left side of the heart is on the right side of this diagram, and this is intentional. The way the two sides are labeled is according to the perspective of the person in the diagram. So this will be the person's right side, and this will be their left side. And as such, this will be the right side of the heart, while this will be the left side of their heart. Going back to the heart, let's start with where the blood flows in and out. On the right side of the heart, deoxygenated blood flows into the vena cava, which has two parts. The superior vena cava brings in blood from the upper body, while the inferior vena cava brings in blood from the lower body. And deoxygenated blood is pumped out of the heart through the pulmonary arteries, which brings it to the lungs for oxygenation. You might notice that the pulmonary artery is blue, and that is correct because it is carrying deoxygenated blood, and since it's carrying blood away from the heart, we still refer to it as an artery. Now, looking at the left side of the heart, oxygenated blood from the lungs enters the heart from the pulmonary veins. You might notice that the pulmonary veins are red. That's because it's bringing oxygenated blood in, and since it's bringing blood to the heart, we still call it a vein. Then the oxygenated blood is pumped out of the heart through the aorta, which carries it to the rest of the circulatory system. Now, let's look at the different chambers and valves in the heart that allow it to pump the blood. Starting off with the right side of the heart, deoxygenated blood first enters the space called the right atrium. Then the right atrium pumps the blood through the tricuspid valve and into the right ventricle. It's called the tricuspid valve because there are three cuffs on the valve. If you search up a 3D diagram, you'll be able to see this better. Then the deoxygenated blood in the right ventricle is pumped out through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary artery, where it leaves the heart. Now for the left side of the heart, oxygenated blood first enters the left atrium from the pulmonary veins, and it gets pumped through the mitral valve, also called a bicuspid valve, into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, the oxygenated blood then gets pumped through the aortic valve and into the aorta, where it leaves the heart. You might notice that the valves in the heart are shaped like this, so blood doesn't flow back into the wrong chamber when pumping. Looking closer at the heart wall, the inner lining is called the endocardium, while the large middle portion is the myocardium. The outer layers are called the pericardium. The heart is the only organ made up of cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle fibers are striated like skeletal muscle fibers. However, cardiac muscle fibers are short and only contain 1 to 2 nuclei. The cardiac muscle fibers branch and interlock with each other at junctions called intercalculated discs. Cardiac muscle have gap junctions, and these allow the exchange of ions between cells. Let's go through a more simplified version of how the heart pumps. So deoxygenated blood flows in to the right side of the heart through the vena cava, while oxygenated blood flows in to the left side of the heart from the pulmonary veins. The blood fills the right and left atriums, where it gets pumped through the tricuspid valve and bicuspid valves into the right and left ventricles. Then the tricuspid and bicuspid valves close, the ventricles contract, causing blood to get pumped through the pulmonary and aortic valves into the pulmonary artery and aorta. Then the process repeats. And this is how the blood circulates around the entire body. Since the circulatory system is a closed loop, a circulatory diagram can simplify showing the major blood vessels and the flow of blood throughout the body.